origin of the Alberta separatist movement begins with the election of Pierre Trudeau as Prime Minister.
It was a deliberate and malicious targeting of the West, which suited Pierre Trudeau just fine, just like it suits Justin Trudeau just fine.
Sunny ways, my friends.
Blackface.
There is an actual hostile government towards Alberta.
Why did your dad give everyone in Western Canada the middle finger?
Really, in politics, you do have to make big decisions, and whenever you make big decisions, there's going to be people who agree with it and people who don't disagree with it.
Plenty of people want to leave this country.
It's not the kind of idea you'd expect to hear from someone who wants to win power and hold power. It is a radical idea.
And you would normalize the discussion, and so maybe Alberta wouldn't have to go, because maybe the rest of the country and the rest of the world would say, whoa, don't go. Will you accept these changes instead? That's what happened for Quebec.
There's no maple leafs west of the Manitoba border. Why do we have a maple leaf by unilateral decision on the Canadian flag?
We're policy locked, we're not landlocked. So I think Alberta, as an independent nation, would overnight become the #1 GDP per capita region in the world.
Hey, how's it going? Selene Galas here with Rebel News. Tonight, I was at Canyon Meadows Theatre in Calgary, Alberta, here at the premiere of Ungovernable, Alberta's Quest for Independence, made by Rebel's very own Keen Simone. I got to talk to some folks afterwards to go and see what they thought about it and what they think is best for Alberta going forward.
We both agree with absolutely everything here today. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. Really good.
And did it piss you off?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, every time I see Trudeau or hear him, it pisses me off. But yeah, absolutely.
I'd expect as much from this crowd. So you had a big part in this film, so to speak. You also had some time to talk on the panel afterwards. What is the #1 most important thing that you believe Albertans can do to support prosperity and sovereignty moving forward?
Well, the #1 thing is for them to recognize the necessity for the provincial government to have the leverage required to protect their interests, their freedoms, their rights, and prosperity. And for 117 years, no provincial government has ever been able to have that leverage to negotiate with Ottawa from a level playing field. This imbalance of power cannot be solved by thinking that we can play nice and that we can open and change the Constitution.
What do you think is the next step for Alberta going forward? What do we need?
Well, we need exactly what was talked about in there. We need those concrete steps toward independence, have Ottawa take Alberta seriously, because we're a serious province and we need to start acting like it.
So, standing with me here is a man that needs no introduction. I just covered his court case yesterday. If you didn't see that, go check it out. It was a victory win. This is Pastor Archie Pawlowski. He has been through many trials, many to come, but he is also the leader of the Independence Party of Alberta. Tell me, what did you think about the film?
It was incredible. It was amazing. And I agree with Kian. I was upset watching it because everything is coming fresh again when you understand the connection between the father and the son, Pierre Trudeau and Justin Trudeau. The father hated this land, he hated our way of life, and the son is finishing us off. So as I was watching, I had this, why is this happening to us over and over again? We never had a fair share within the Confederation. That needs to change. How we're going to change it? Well, we need our independence. We need to file for the divorce. We need to serve the papers and say, husband, Ottawa, either start behaving like a normal partner or we're out of here. So I think within the province of Alberta right now, we have, I believe, the most amazing freedom-loving patriots ever walking this land. And if we can put all of those people together, working for the same goal to get our independence, I believe we can.
It's nice to see something like that done where, people can take some time and watch it and have a lot of their questions answered. Yeah. Maybe come out of there with more questions that are also important.
Yeah. Did it more or less confirm or deny what you already felt about the situation regarding Alberta?
Yeah, well, I've known some of the things that I've known them for a long time. Yeah. And I think a lot of us have. We just have been unwilling to have that conversation.
What was it like making this?
Making it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Being from Ontario and talking about such a complex subject that I have no idea about. My first interview was Derek Fildebrand, who is the publisher of the Western Standard, and I asked him for a half an hour interview, and he gave me an hour and 45 minutes worth of Alberta rich history. And I thought that was fascinating, but also, what the hell am I getting myself into? And from there, I was able to formulate my questions for the other folk who, it turned out what I wanted to talk about was today's independence. What I ended up talking about was the last 117 years of Alberta history. I went in kind of hard-headed about the Alberta independence movement. I went in with the idea that it was fringe and kooky. And what I came out was, it's quite the opposite. And that it's very intellectual people who have very real problems. And I say in the documentary that it is all about real people with real problems. People who are angry aren't just separatists, and people who are angry aren't independence-minded. But they can still relate on the same issues, like a provincial police force, Canadian pension plan, collecting no income tax, like all of these things that affect everyday Albertans. It doesn't really matter what you identify as. I hate to say it that way, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It's really just about the problems that Alberta faces, and it kind of dives into the different hive minds of that. Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me, ladies and gentlemen. Kian Simone.
I love Rebel.
If you wanted to check out some more of those viewings that we have coming up, on the 19th, we are at Buffet Royale in Edmonton, Alberta. Then you can also go on the 30th to Church in the Vine to go and see that last showing that we have for this documentary in particular.